Now, along with me, please welcome Dr. N. Rajesh Kar on stage to share his views on increasing trends in malignancy.
Good morning, or it's good afternoon. It's almost noon. We have come across. Okay, I'm Dr. Rajesh Kar. I'm basically a clinical oncologist. I've done my DMRT and my PhD in medical radiation oncology. Today, I'm just going to talk about increasing in malignancies. Trends in malignancies. That means the cancer. The word cancer itself has got more fear and stigma than the disease. Let me be promising this way. Actually, even though the cancer is so-called a deadly disease, but it is as equivalent to as any of the non-communicable disease like diabetes or a hypertension. That's the way it should be understood. The malignancies, when diagnosed at early stages, becomes more easy to treat and to have a 100% complete response. So that is what I need to stress upon in this group of audience. The basic thing that takes care in a medical field, whenever the word cancer comes, they treat it as a dreadful end disease, which is actually not so. Treating an early disease always gives a better cure rate. So what about this trending happening in the malignancies, that is in cancer? Yes, the breast cancer and the cervix cancer, especially in females, of course. So those are being the most aggressively coming up in such a high intensity. To talk about the records, it is like in 2012 to considering from 2021, that's what the Cancer Registry of India says, almost 12% increase in the cancer rate has occurred. Even it may be the population increase could be contributing this increase in the rate, but still the awareness, lack of awareness is the main reason. Okay, so what are other cancers that can be able to attack or come across by the general populations? The breast, cervix, and lung forms the top three of the malignancies. Fourth comes as the GI malignancies. In men, oral cancer, lung, of course, GI contributes the top three. So, how this can be able to handle? Yes, by simple ways like testing at the early stage. That is the most important thing that everyone has to understand and go for it. Any conditions, anything which has got abnormal swelling, a non-healing ulcer, or a bleeding in orifices has to be investigated if it is there for more than 2 weeks. So that's the dictum where WHO says. To be a thing, the Globocon statistics which says from 2020, it says that there will be a 40% increase in the cancer rate by the time of 2040, that is 2040. So such an amount of cancer patients we can come across. And this can be reduced by us if you are going to be careful about certain things. That is, our famous old saint poet, Mr. Thiruvalluvar, has written in Thirukkural, which states that மாறுபாடு இல்லாத உண்டு மறுத்து உண்ணின் ஊறுபாடு இல்லை உயிருக்கு. Let me get it in English. It's very simple. If you don't take the food or the items which is not accepted by your body, your life and your disease, and you will not have any disease. This is what it says. It's very simple. You are what you eat. You are what you take. That is what the major concern over here. The major thing everyone knows about it: alcohol, tobacco is any of its forms. For example, the pan, kaini, whatever thing, it has got a potential of giving a malignancy even it has been continued for few months. Let me show you something. When I entered the department in 2007, I used to see only gray hairs of people as a patients. But now, I have patients who are with black hairs. That means the breadwinners of the family are coming into this categories where the entire family gets into a disturbed status. The entire family. It's all more of the emotion, more of the breadwinning, economical issues, financial conditions, all have been disturbed if a breadwinner is going to be affected with this. So, the major concern about this is to get identified at the early stage. Okay. So apart from this, many of the contributing factors like food factor, the food which we use or which especially, I know we are still in a hotel, but still reused oil, processed food are being the most worst thing that we come across which can able to produce a cancer. I'm saying produce a cancer. It's like a factory is happening. It's not just a health industry we are coming across. It's like a factory. They produce a kind of a malignancy by the food items that we come across, which has to be taken into consideration, and we have to be choosy about taking your food. So, what about how we can at least prevent or keep it under bay? The basic thing that we need to understand is the exercise. Exercise, I'm asking not to go for a gym, everyone, but if you go, it's fine, still and fine. But WHO now recommends that 1 hour a day for 5 hours in a week. So every week, 5 hours of exercise is being advised for you. And sleep, where most of us compromise. We say that, okay, night chalega or party ganega, fine. But every time you do this, let me say you something, you are losing the melatonin hormone. This melatonin, what it does? It has got a large number of properties. First of all, this induces sleep. If you have proper amount of melatonin, it induces sleep and makes a balance of your mental hygiene. And it has got a powerful antioxidant effect, which has got to have a control of the cancer. So, sleep at night is the most recommended by any of the doctors. That is at least, to be very practical, 8 hours a day, 8 hours in the night sleep is being recommended, but what we say, at least 6 hours. By the time of 6 hours you have a sleep, the melatonin is almost average of 80% of its condition to balance your mental health. So that is one thing we need to take about. Of course, diet, I already said, preventing your processed food, alcohol, tobacco, which even comes in the habit, has to be avoided. And one important thing what we stress is about a bowl of fruits, a bowl of vegetables every day. That is the regional fruits and regional vegetables. I'm not asking you to go for kiwis, Australian kiwis, or kind of a berries which is present in US. I'm not asking about it at all. Whichever available at a local area or a local region, that is more than enough for us to have it. That is the most thing, a bowl of fruit, a bowl of vegetable every day. Probably, I understand a nephrologist has come and spoken, previous speaker. If they say about you have a renal issues, you may have some kind of a diet which has been properly guided by a, nephropathic compromised diet, which can be taken up by the patient. But anyways, this has to be added to your diet to make sure you have a good bowel and powerful antioxidants. Okay, then mental hygiene. Mental hygiene is the most important thing. There's a saying that the law of life is the law of mind, and the law of mind is the what you do. So it is the best thing is whenever your mental hygiene is strong, you can do anything. That is what you believe you can do. So you'll have to believe it in a strong way that the activity that you do has to be calculated and channelized. So that is what we try to say about it. Of course, the early detection of cancer, it's all recommended. Mammogram, any women more than 30 years has to undergo a mammogram at least every 3 years. And pap smear, the same way, 30 years, women has to undergo. The more important thing is, I need to stress here, is self-breast examination. And this has to be encouraged from the age of teens, that is 13 to 14 years of any female, especially in the school-going kids, or school-going peoples, have to be educated about the self-breast examination. It's absolutely costless, and it can be done by themselves. Why do you do this? If you're going to do this, then only you will be able to come across the normal architecture of the breast. So once you know about the normal architecture of the breast, if you have any abnormality, then it can be easily identified, so you can identify at the early stage. So that way, if you have a girl child, please encourage them to go for a self-breast examination from the age of 13 to 14. That makes lots of sense for them to appreciate any changes in the due course of a lifetime. And moreover, what is for many men? Yes, ultrasound abdomen and a regular master health checkup at least once a year. I'm not promoting a master health checkup over here. Let me be very clear. Any man of more than 30 years has to go for at least a regular blood routine with a renal functions and liver function test with a ultrasound abdomen, preferably a X-ray, to have a check of your disease or not. Okay. So coming last to the treatment, yes, we have got a lot of treatments with surgery, laparoscopic surgeries and keyhole surgeries, which is minimal invasive surgeries. Apart from that, in radiation treatment, we do have an organ preserving technique where we can able to treat the patient without sparing an organ, and chemotherapies, targeted therapies, immunotherapies, all have been in a long advanced treatments have come across to treat the patients. And one important thing I need to stress about here is the free treatment in a private hospital, which has been introduced in the year of 2009 by the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, Mr. M. Karunanidhi. So that great man had an idea to start about the free treatment for people who are affordable in a private hospital. What did it happen? How did it make sense? Yes, this made people at least to take treatment. See, even without you take the treatment, you brand the disease as a deadly disease, and you come across, you live with the disease and extend the disease to the advanced stage, then what's the point? The patient has to be treated. If you want to be treated, then you have to go for the hospital. So this was introduced by then Chief Minister and still continuing by our now Chief Minister, Mr. M.K. Stalin, who has been doing a wonderful job in treating it. So you make the people to come to the hospital for the treatment at the free of cost. And thank for the Honorable Prime Minister, our Modi ji, who has also introduced this Ayushman Bharat along the way to all over the country where affordable or unaffordable people can still come across for the treatment, for the reach in the private hospital. Anyway, to conclude my statement regarding the vaccination, yes, vaccination has to be given for the cervical, to prevent the cervical cancers, especially from the age of 9 to 24 years. This I stress a lot before concluding my speech, and thank you, Prime Time, for giving me an opportunity for this speech. Thank you.